Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm just fresh back from Maui, and there I had a pretty big download and something that's very informal for me to talk about today and share with you all. So I have no notes, and I think that's perfect. So you guys know I mentioned I was going to Maui for my mom's 65th birthday, and um, it was something that was kind of weird that she brought up to go because we've been to Maui many times for girls' trips, but she's since been married, and in that marriage, they typically only travel together. So for her to say, let's do a girls' trip for my birthday, which you would think she would want to spend with her new husband, was kind of a surprise. But of course, was super excited about it because I love girls' trips. And then her birthday was November 4th. And then after we booked it and planned what we were going to do while we were there, it turned out that Matías was also being called to Maui, and it fell right in the middle of our trip on November 6th. So I knew that there was a reason for this, and I didn't know, like, a lot of the times, like, what does intuition feel like? It's like you just know something, but you don't know why it's coming. You don't really need, it's like your brain doesn't understand it, but your body and your being does. So when I saw that he was going to be there and it was just a free event, very small event, I felt like, yeah, that's no wonder. Because I have said to you guys, I've looked for teachers, I have felt like once I learn something from someone, it's like our connection, not that it ends, but that it's like a passing of maybe traditions, maybe teachings, and then it's like honoring that person, but then knowing that it's complete. And that's happened for me at least 3 times, and I'm grateful for each one. I've always wish that I had a teacher. I have said that before, and I know the message that I get about that is that I'm not supposed to have a teacher, that I'm supposed to find the answers inside, which, at times is hard because I love having a guide. I have to be honest, I think we all do. Um, and in this place, Mateus has been someone for me that rings true. Now, when I say that, I mean, I listen to people and I feel into what people say. And if it doesn't resonate, you guys know I always say use discernment and move on. Don't hold uh, like an audience with someone that doesn't speak to your body, that feels uncomfortable, that doesn't ring as you. It should feel like it's coming from you. That true. That's how it feels for me. It's either like, yes, I could have said that exact same thing, and therefore there's a resonance there. It's a vibration that is, how do I say it? Like, it resonates. It's your body's able to read it. Maybe that's the best way to say it. Your body's able to absorb and understand it as truth. So a lot of Mateus's teachings have felt that way for me. So long term, he's been somebody that I have followed throughout his time in Egypt. And I'm sure I've spoken about it before, but he has a YouTube channel, which I will link below because it's not just his name, it's his foundation. He, for the past year in Egypt, did a meditation and a lesson every single day. And it's not that I felt called every single day to listen to them. I would use my intuition. When the time felt like today's a day, I would tune in, right? And that's the same thing. Just because you resonate with someone, it doesn't mean you resonate with everything. So I always used my intuition on when are the days that I should be available and listening. But through that, I would say that there's a resonance there. I felt truth there, and I feel like he's pure. He's not someone that's trying to make a profit. He's not trying to be anybody's guru. He's just giving the facts and his truth from his perspective. And he's also very clear about that. He's saying, this is my truth from the lives that I've lived. This may resonate, this may not resonate. And it's not like it's the truth. And I appreciate that so much too, because a lot of teachers nowadays try to speak from a place of this is the truth. And no one's truth is the truth, right? Like that's been coming up a lot for me, and people are reflecting this as well, is that your only truth is the truth that you hold inside and that you know from inside. And I think that's why we're not being called to have one set teacher that teaches us everything, but have many different perspectives so that you can resonate from different viewpoints of the same thing. So when he was also called to Maui, I felt sure, I knew there was a reason other than my mom's birthday we were going there. And so it felt like I don't yet really understand the reason. I had kind of a knowing of it's not about meeting him. It's about the energy in Maui and being there at the same time. And, you know, I just let that be. I didn't try to figure it out. But then we got to Maui, and of course, it's amazing if you haven't been there before. It has the most nurturing vibration that I've ever experienced. Even for me, more so Maui than Bali, which Bali is also an amazing, feels like a womb space. Maui is, there's a cleansingness to it, and and I know that has to do with it being surrounded by water, but there is something in the air that feels like it literally is holding you and allowing you to just rest, which I'm sure I'm going to cry because it feels so intense, but I'm sure that is why people go to Maui, because it's like, it's a place that you can just set everything down and allow the unknown to be there, to be present without your mind needing to figure it out. So the first couple days there, I brought some mushrooms, and I wanted to do a microdose, but a little bit deeper microdose, and they didn't do anything. There was no journey, and I think I was like, what's going on? And I think that was due to the day that I tried to do that. It was around a lot of people were at the pool that we were at, and just too many distractions. And that made me realize, like, none of these plant medicines are able to do anything if you're not in the right frame of mind and able to go deep. Like, even if I think about ayahuasca, you have to be able to let go of everything happening around you and go in. And if you're not, it's like your mind is fighting your intuition, and it's like this battle, and the mind always is going to win in this dimension. So yeah, nothing happened. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the next day was the Matías event. And I also want to say this, something that's been happening for me probably the last 6 months is that my moon cycle has slowed down and sped up each month depending on something that's happening in my life. So typically my cycle the last 6 months has been coinciding with my ceremonies, meaning that if I'm scheduled for a ceremony, my period will not come for up to, the last time was 2 weeks. It held off until I was in ceremony, and then it opened and let go. And so, like, that pure intuition of why this is happening, same thing happened in Maui. I was supposed to have my period the week before we left, and so I was late. And I started realizing, or I got this download of, it will happen on the day of this meeting. And sure enough, it did. And I don't necessarily understand why. Part of me feels like it's an opening and it's a release of my, my holding space to receive myself. So if you imagine your womb space, it's all being nurtured and held for if a baby were to come. And I believe like what's happening on those particular moments of when it does release into ceremony or into a special moment in my life or a crossroads in my path, it's a release of being held by something bigger than me, right? Because my body lets go. It's not holding that space. So I'm not sure what this means, but it is something that I'm realizing, and it has happened every single ceremony that I have, and yeah, the last 6 months. So it wasn't a surprise to me that that was the day that my cycle started. But again, just going with the flow. And the lecture itself, which I'm also going to link below, is available on YouTube. He did record it so everyone can watch it. It was really, it was at Temple of Peace in Maui, and it was a really small event. They said that the tickets were filled within an hour. I think they only allowed 40 people in the space. And it was really, I had this feeling of just receiving. I didn't have any questions. I didn't have any doubts or concerns in the lecture that he gave. A lot of what he spoke about, he has spoken about before. What's interesting though is I think every I know he's channeling, number one. He's not, and he even says, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And he even said, I don't know why I'm in Maui. This didn't line up with my he's doing the tour of the dragon, and he had to be back in Cairo on 11/11, and obviously Maui is the complete opposite direction. So he said, I don't know why I'm here, and this really put me off of my path, and it's 12 hours off of where I'm supposed to be in a few days. So, but he let the energies bring him. And he then said, I don't know even what I'm here to talk about. So a lot of the things that he spoke about were things that he's spoken about before, which again, I'll link it below, because he asked how many people even know who I am, and there was a couple people who didn't, so he wanted to kind of start from the beginning. He did talk a lot about the fractals of our soul in other dimensions, and he spoke about how no matter what he speaks about, it's just the basic level of understanding. And then if you are religious, if you're spiritual, if you believe in angels, if you believe in seraphim, you can add those things on top of what he's teaching. And one of the people that were with us, which is my mom's friend, Mary, she believes in angels and she sees angels. And so it was interesting to have conversations with her after the fact for her to understand and comprehend what he was saying. And then also having the acceptance of exactly where she is and the filter that she sees these things through. So I really liked and appreciated that it was my mom, her friend Mary, and my best friend Maureen were all able to experience him and learn from him. And I just felt so happy to be there and just, again, receive the energy, I guess, is how I was feeling. And there were people around me that the girl sitting on the other side of me, she was like, oh, I want to know about this and this and this and this. And I was like, she's like, do you have any questions? And I was like, no, not at all. And I think that's also receiving. And you know what? Here's the download that I got in Maui. This whole trip for me, and I believe for this time and space that we're in right now, is how can we learn to receive? Can we learn to let the mind go and not have questions? So Matías has a history with Atlantis, which is the technological society that existed. And depending on what you guys know about it, they eventually got so advanced technologically that they weren't using their morals in front of the technology. Now, when I tune into him, I feel he is so knowledgeable and able to use the mind space to bring across details, right? Now, myself, it's like the complete opposite. I will get this knowing or this feeling and not be able to understand it. I don't know why I do certain things. I just feel the call. I just do them. And it's almost like the complete opposite, which in the space of Maui is where the Mu civilization was. And the Mu civilization was the complete opposite of Atlantis. It's the place where it was all intuition and all feeling. And it was like a hive of connection with each other through telepathic intuition, and the not needing the mind to understand all of it. So I thought it was really great that he said he didn't know why he was there, and he just came because he felt like he had to. There was a call, there was an invitation, right? And what I understood in this moment is that these are the two, I guess, polarities of us. You can have people that are able to pull through information in a very logical way, which is his teachings are very logical, and he will be able to draw and try to explain it in so many different ways so that our minds can understand it, right? But then there's the intuition side, and I believe that is where the people that pull through the Mu energy, and it's the feeling and it's the emotion. And you will hear most, I would say, I mean 90% of the people that listen to me, that's how you get your feelings. It's through emotion, it's through the understanding of everything through feeling. And what I'm feeling is that there's a need for them to combine. And I did have this download that we were meeting in Maui on Mu, which is the land of intuition, it felt like for a joining of the masculine and feminine. And can I give you the details of how this works? No, not at all. But I have to trust. Like, every part of this journey for me has been about trusting the unknown. And like, I want to bring this up in astrology. My sun is Sagittarius, and it's conjunct Neptune and Mercury. So yeah, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to bring voice to the unknown, to the mystery, to the higher levels of understanding, and to the spiritual world. And most of the time, my mind is on the back burner. I don't try to have the logical blueprint behind it. And even if I tried to explain this stuff to you in that logical way, it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be my vessel being able to do that, because my mind is not that way. And I got the feeling in this trip is that that's exactly what my gift is. My gift is to bring through the emotion and the intuition, the downloads, without having to get the mind involved. And both are perfect, right? Both are needed. And I think that is why I resonate with him and his speaking, because it does help me to see that side of myself through that lens, because I'm not that. I don't have that in me, right? Like, I do get really I guess obsessive about different things that I study, and I try really hard to understand them, and that's great. Like, it could be human design, that's very technological, but that's like my mind on this plane digesting. But when I do readings with people, it's not my mind giving the information. I've digested it and I've internalized it, and then I give the emotion, and I try to explain it from the place of what I believe is me, like the boiled down version of the love state, so that person can understand who they are in that space from the heart, from the reality of the way that I see it, right? And even in healings, it's emotion running through me, it's energy running through me. And anytime that my mind tries to get in and understand, that's when things go haywire. So I've learned to hold that part of me back, because I know that's not what I'm here to do. And the downloads that I got is that I was brought to Maui or Mu at this time because I needed to let go and start receiving. And then I really tuned into that, and why is that? What is that about? I believe it's about, we're here right now to feel both, but our masculine sides, our minds, have been exercised so much more than the intuition. And we are always looking for the reason. Why did this happen? Why did I have this dream? What does this mean? Your mind is trying to chew on every insight that you get. And the feeling that I'm getting is that's the wrong approach. It's about feeling. What is the feeling that you received? What is the nurturing of the soul that happened in that coincidence or synchronicity or dream or connection point? That's where we're learning these lessons. It's not in the understanding of the mind. Now, why do I think this is happening? I think it's because we are being tasked to tune really deeply into that part of ourselves. Like, how do we bring forward the divine feminine if we still are using our mind to understand all of this, right? Like, it's a feeling, it's a letting go, and it's like a shedding of the conditioning that we have, which is all about understanding, to a place of release, like literally releasing into the emotion, into the feeling, into the unknown, right? Because that's what it is. The intuition is the unknown, but you trust it so deeply. Like, here I am spilling my guts to you guys based on 100% on my intuition. I don't know where this is going. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I know this is what I'm supposed to do, right? And could my logical mind figure it out? No, because this isn't about the mind. And what I learned in this trip is that that's exactly the space that I'm supposed to talk about. There, we can appreciate the people that do have the details and do have the downloads that are very specific and more analytical. And as you said, or as I said, I do. But there is another side of this coin that really needs to be developed, and it's all in the let go. And this is why I feel like I can go deep in my journeys, my meditations, my ceremonies, because I don't let that part of myself in the room. It's all intuition. It's all flow. It feels like being in the ocean and not knowing when the next wave is coming, and not knowing where the current is going to pull you, and not knowing if there's a turtle swimming underneath your feet. It's all allowing that space, and then using those feelers, whatever they are for you, to pick up on the nuances of what is in your space, what is in your reality, to pull in as like guidance, as downloads, as things that you need to focus on or share with others, or let pass by you, let the current move beyond you. You know, it's not, I need to latch on to every single let's say dream and analyze it to the death so that I can understand why I dreamt that. So on this trip, I dreamt of a spaceship, a UFO coming down, hovering right above the ocean, and ET coming out and walking towards me, and then I don't remember what happened. It's the first time that I've ever dreamed about any ETs. This is the honest to God truth. I don't usually remember a lot of my dreams. Most of the time I do, but they're very me and just parallel lives. So I never feel like there's something I need to latch onto. If it's a hard situation, I'll send it love and I'll hold space for whatever happened. But I never analyze my dreams, because for me, they're just snapshots or views into another facet of me. So in this dream, yes, this is what I dreamed, but I don't feel like I need to understand it. I told the group about it, and for me, it's more of like a curiosity, you know, like more of like, oh, I'm so thankful to have seen that, but I want to feel into what does it mean? If it doesn't mean anything, like right now, I don't think it really means anything. I think it was just like a friendly hello. That's how it felt. And I am okay with that. I'm okay with understanding that it's nothing, you know, and I go back to this place of we are just vessels to take in everything. And the more that we try to pinpoint, you're narrowing yourself so deeply that your head's in the sand, you don't see the rest of the magic that's around. And I try so hard not to care really about any of the things. Like, I just spill out my guts. And for me, it feels like a release so that I can open back up, right? So like last week was all about this intense pain that I was going through. And I'm so thankful that it happened. I was able to heal it. I feel so much better about it. I feel like my relationship with my brother is going to evolve into something so much greater because now I have the capacity for it. Where the week prior, no, I was very blocked. I didn't like him. I was very much against him, had all these judgments. And now it's like a freeing place to be because I've let it go. So I feel like each episode is like literally a release so that you can then almost like dive back deep into the ocean and see what's next, and not needing to understand it. I know, like in the one last week, it was a physical pain. So I was like, I want to fix this. And I went to the hospital and all of those things. But in the end, that wasn't what healed me, right? It was always inside of me to heal. And I'm finding that all of these things, they come from a place of your inside. And can you hear them? And can you feel them and acknowledge them and then release them or invite them in to be a part of the journey? And I know in the group, a lot of people are having the dark night of the soul right now. And even that, I feel, is exactly perfectly timed. These energies that are coming up in the next month are here to help us find that center space of intuition and of the let go, right? It's the let go of the mind, of all the judgments of why you are in this dark night, all of the things that maybe you are judging yourself about for doing in your past. It's a let go. All of it doesn't matter. At this point, it feels like we're being gifted with these energies of such high vibration so that we no longer have to go through, it feels like, the turbulence to release. They're like, in the case of the one with my brother, it came up as a pain. It was like a stabbing and it lasted for 2 days and then it was healed. Now, I could carry that the rest of my life, but no, it was time to be healed and let go. So what I want you to know, that as these intense energies are working through you, and as things come up, like imagine it's that current, like tilling the sand in the ocean and allowing that space to release those tight wound knots. Let it go, move with it, go into the pain, go into the unknown. Try not to go into the judgment though, because again, it's coming up and it's releasing because we are here to receive these energies. And it's all a nurturing feeling. It's not analytical. It's all emotion. And so the places where you've held back emotionally or where you've hurt yourself emotionally, those are the release points. Those are the things that are going to be coming up for you. And again, in the space of the eclipses, you can look to the houses that those points are in. So in the one on November 19th, it's 27 degrees of Taurus. And then the one on December 4th is 12 degrees of Sagittarius. So look to those houses and what are those release points for you? And then as they come up, feel them. Feel them so that you can release them and let these energies nurture you through it. Because we aren't doing this alone. Like, that was the biggest download of them all, is that every single thing is happening for our greater good and our benefit. And if you're on this path of awakening, it's even more intensified because your energy is needed and your light is needed. And I go back to saying, like, this could not have happened at any other time in the space and time that I've existed, because we didn't have these allies here to help move it through quickly. Like, you could get stuck, like in the case of my infertility, I was stuck in that for 6 years and it wouldn't move, and now it's like, it's time. We have to move them through. And the more that come up, heal them. Now, I'm not saying if you're in the dark night and you think, I have a relationship with my brother that needs to be healed, don't go looking for these things. they come up when it's time to come up. If you have a lot on your plate that you're working on internally, you do that first. You don't need to go to the outside relations to heal all these other threads until you've healed inside first and nurtured inside first. And then if you've done that work, then you'll notice that the threads from the other energies that are in your life will start to present themselves as they're ready to be tilled, they're ready to be harvested, they're ready to move on. And that is how this phase is feeling like for me. And it's perfect, you guys. It feels like the most beautiful womb space, but it's almost like we've been here. We've been here many times. And I would say, again, if you're listening to me, you're part of the Mu civilization. So I know you're connected to that. It's like just remembering that part of you and letting the mind stop chewing, just put it on the side, even if it's for a minute. And anytime it comes up as like, but I need to understand this, but I want to know this, but why? Is it going to make it any better, any worse? Why? Are we wanting to know so that we can have the validation or to explain it to someone else? It's all healing. It's all like internal work, and here I am saying that, and I am speaking everything to you guys. But again, I feel like it's the journey that is helping you guys understand the process in your own journeys. I don't think it's about me. I feel like when I speak about these things, they're coming up for others, and that is just meant to validation that this is happening, and understanding that we do not need to understand everything. I hope it's helpful. I hope that you guys release, and I really want you to understand the next month is going to be all about this. So just let it go and let it in.